With our Commissioner Status Update meeting. Today's date is December 9, 2025. The time is 10 a.m. In attendance are Commissioners Eberlein and Matari. I'm going to call this meeting to order. Are there any changes to the agenda? Hearing none. Public comment. Anyone wish to speak? Hearing none. We'll go into our first business item. It's FY26. TY25, foregone resolution. It's a discussion item, and we have our Finance Director, Brandy Falcon, here.
Good morning, Commissioners. Brandy Falcon for the record. I am just here to get board direction on whether or not you want to reserve the foregone taxes from the FY26 budget cycle. So you may recall the board only took a 2.5% tax increase, which means there's approximately $310,000 available to reserve as foregone taxes. Our current foregone balance is $11.4 million. And in order to reserve this additional $310,000, if the board wishes to do so, we would prepare a resolution, bring it back at a business meeting. So just looking for what the board wants to do.
Any thoughts on that? Yeah, I don't ever see us using that, but I guess if there were some sort of a crisis of sorts, the most we could take is what, 3%?
It would be 1% for ongoing costs and then 3% for capital projects. And the 3% for capital does not build into our property tax base, but the 1% for ongoing costs does.
Sure. And so out of that 11.4 million, how much of a 3%, if we were to use that for a capital cost, how much of that 11.4 million would it take?
Well, I think 1% is about 600,000 because it's 1% of your base. And so 3% would be, well, like 1.8 maybe.
Yeah. So, okay. So 2 million max, even if it were into the future, because the budget would be growing. And so, yeah. So we have more than enough foregone to last us for any single event. And then it's just a matter of whether or not there's some sort of recurring situation where we have to take a 1% each year moving into the future, which would, in essence, go on, would seem like in perpetuity. To gobble up this 11 million. So it doesn't sound like there's any point in reserving it to foregone.
All right. Sounds good. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Next up, item 2, audio visual room equipment quote discussion item, and Sarah Masters.
Yes, so I'm just looking for board direction. I included a quote in your packets from a company called VIP Production Northwest. We have been using Avidex for the last several years. Some of the equipment is starting to fail, and we had them come out and give us a quote. Avidex, we waited about 4 weeks, and when they finally got back to us after multiple follow-up emails, they told us it would be between $50,000 and $250,000, but there were no parts listed or any idea as to what direction they were going. We started looking at other vendors and was recommended this VIP Production Northwest from the AV system administrator from Spokane County. They are using them and have been quite happy. We had them come out. They didn't look at our room and kind of built out what they thought would work best for us. Their quote came in just over $32,000, requesting 50% up front. I did have legal review it. They had a couple of items that they wanted removed. I reached out to the vendor and they were okay with those items being removed. The only follow-up I have from that is after having Craig look at it, Craig thought that we should probably get a better idea of what their maintenance costs are moving forward, which I think is a good idea. But other than that, I just want board direction on if you want to go this route. I did have Michael take a look at the parts list, and he felt that they were good products. They had great reviews online for how we would be utilizing them.
Thank you. Questions?
Yes. Was this already in go for this?
Was it in the budget, you mean,
Yes.
for this year? I don't believe it was budgeted. It's been something that has just been Band-Aided for as long as I've been here. Something breaks and we pay to get a wire reconnected. These cameras, they're daisy chained together. And so when one of them fails, all three of them lose the ability to pan, tilt, zoom. So depending on who had the meeting last, sometimes planning and zoning will have a board of 5 up here, and then I lose the ability to shrink it back to a board of 3. So they come out, they say the wires are brittle, and they kind of splice them back together again. And we've done that at least 3 times since I've been here. It's not an item that gets budgeted for, at least to my
So
knowledge.
how will this be budgeted?
Brandy, it's $32,000. Would this be a general
board-
fund item?
Yeah, the board could use fund balance for this.
Yeah, well, it's, how many years has it been since this was installed? 2018-ish,
Yeah,
2017?
and I will say that the splitter that we're using to go between different cameras, it's so out of date. It was out of date when they installed it. They no longer make this item or any parts to repair it. And just to give you an idea, it is only capable of producing about 1,200, is it bit rate? Yes, thank you. And YouTube, their recommended rate is 13,500. So very often, Michael and I are sitting there watching it go under 500 and going, oh, it's like we're going to lose video. And sometimes we do, and that causes us to have to delete the video from YouTube, download it. It just, there's a lot of Band-Aids happening behind the scenes.
Why wasn't it budgeted?
I think I can explain that. We didn't really know all this. There was a former employee who left this past year in May, you may recall, and he was the one who operated it. And so Sarah was able to step up and try to figure it out. And upon figuring it out and hiring a firm to come out and help her, we discovered all these issues. And so as a result of that, it didn't make the budget cycle this past year.
So the dinosaur is going to die.
Well, if you're referring to the system here, yes, it'll leave us hanging. And it has a couple of times. The live streaming has gone out, and then it just has to be posted afterwards. So ultimately, I think it's going to have to be done. The question is, how are we going to go about doing it? And $50,000 or to $200,000 is not even reasonable in my book. That sounds more like a quote that says, "Thank you, but I'm not really interested in working with you."
Well, and just so the board is aware, it took them 4 weeks to provide me with that response after multiple emails.
For support.
Well, multiple emails asking them for the quote that they said
Oh,
that they
okay.
would provide it in, 7 to 10 days. Like, like we're not that interested.
For me, it's kind of embarrassing when we're sitting up here at this table doing things with whoever it might be, and we have faulty systems. And it
I agree.
Makes us look really stupid.
I agree. I think that the time has come where we should definitely do more investigating on this.
Okay.
I'm not worried personally about the expense on it. Granted, it would be nice if this was budgeted. On the flip side, we get a lot of money coming back from salary savings and other savings, so I don't see this as digging into fund balance as much. Plus, it's a small dollar amount. I think we have a couple of issues coming up in the next week or two where we will significantly be talking about digging into fund balance. So at least getting all the numbers together, I think, is prudent, and then we can make our decision whether we want to do that now or budget it for FY '27, and then pull the trigger, so to speak, come,
October.
yeah, next September or October.
Can we wait that long?
I don't know. I mean, the problem with electrical stuff, as you know, is it doesn't start to wear away. It just stops working.
My concern at this point is that Avidex is the person who gave us the 50 to 250 quote, and that is who we have been using even for service calls. And when something breaks, we're relying on the people that we've showed no interest in their quote moving forward. I don't know how eager they are going to be to keep our business. I think with something as critical, like you said, Mark, Commissioner, this is mission critical for the public as far as transparency is concerned.
I don't think we should delay.
Fair enough.
Otherwise, we're just in the same boat. We're going to push the thing down the road for another 6 months or more.
Look, I agree. It's not a significant expense. There's no upside to waiting at this point.
Okay, so board direction, I can place this on a business meeting and clarify with them about a maintenance contract?
Yes, what the expense will be.
Okay,
And any kind of service levels with respect to if you have questions, anyone has questions about what's going on, how quickly will they respond back, things like that. So we're not left kind of hanging.
understood.
Okay. On to item 3, county cell phone contract, a discussion item, and Sarah Masters again.
So T-Mobile reached out to us to see if we would be interested in hearing them out on possibly switching. The county currently uses Verizon. We have struggled with Verizon for well before I came on board. I took the administrator role over from a previous employee, and can kind of echo their previous sentiment that it's quite difficult to reach our rep. I know that several departments have struggled with this. Their online portal, their business center is quite difficult to use. The customer service operators are not helpful. 2 weeks ago, I drove in my car a court employee to a Verizon store and sat with him for an hour and 45 minutes because the Verizon rep and the customer support agent over the phone were not able to help us. It seems like a huge waste of taxpayer dollars to have the need for 2 employees to sit at a Verizon store if the rep can't help us. I did meet with the T-Mobile representative. They were very eager, interested in our business. They provided some plan options for the county. On first glance, it looks like we'll save at least $7 per line. And with almost 100 lines, that's about $700 a month in savings. They have an onboarding team, and just wanted to get the board's input as if you were interested to move forward or if you'd like to look at a different carrier.
How about let's change the horizon and go another way.
Go another way.
What are you thinking?
Ditch them. If the service isn't good, why would we keep it?
Yeah, no, I agree. I just, the proposal here is to look at, was it T-Mobile?
Yeah. So we have one department where they have to call to turn something on or turn something off for one of their uses. And it's so bad that when they let the rep know that, hey, it's time to turn it off, they don't do it. The county actually has a outstanding $10,000 bill and has had it for almost a year because the Verizon rep has been unable to fix it or credit the county back.
Great service, eh?
Yeah, so, well, it sounds like maybe the next step is just to put together a full proposal and then bring it to the board on a
Okay.
business meeting item.
Okay.
And then, just make sure that, if this is the direction we go, that you have the proper resources at T-Mobile to help port all the numbers over and everything.
Yeah.
And I guess we'll probably have to get new phones too.
Yes.
And so how much is that going to be too?
So the good news is, I believe we have 87 lines in the county, separate from the sheriff's office. Those 87 lines, there are, I believe, 72 that are due for upgrade, meaning we are out of contract, so the county owns those phones. So it's less than 20 phones that we would have a potential payout issue with. T-Mobile said that they would likely eat the cost on those for us, along with providing the new phones.
Are we going to have to put it out for somebody else to bid on?
I don't think so. I don't think it's enough on this particular situation, but can you double check that?
Because the last thing we want to do is get mud on our face with Horizon.
So you'll double check that, and if that looks good, get a commitment on how much they'll eat on the phones, hopefully all of it. And as far as plans go, you have 3 different plans up here. Is there one that's
No.
comparable to?
So the one we would be looking at is the middle one for $29.84. Most of the county lines that we have would go to that. What we're currently on is just over $36 a month. But some of our phones have very little usage. Some of the airport phones, possibly some of the community development phones. Solid Waste has some phones that could go to that lower $24.72 plan, just because they're like, in case of emergency type phones at offsite. So there's a potential to save more. I'm going through the accounts and the phone lines, and we'll be reaching out to the different departments to find out what their opinion is.
Okay, and I guess the only other comment is just let's make sure that the coverage is good at these particular locations, because that is one of the things supposedly about Verizon, that you get better coverage, but I'm not so sure that that still holds. I know at one point it did.
So
There's people that say that it's not.
So T-Mobile was quite proud of the fact that after purchasing, I believe, Sprint, that they actually have more towers in this area than Verizon.
Okay,
But I will confirm.
okay. Anything else? No? All right, thank you. Okay, next up is an executive session. So I'm going to go ahead and call for public comment. Is there anyone here who wishes to speak? Hearing nothing, I will take a motion to enter into executive session,
So be it.
and that's 1B as in boy.
Okay, does that count as making a motion or seconding?
I will make it just so that way it's very clear for you, okay? I move that we enter into executive session pursuant to Idaho Code 74-2061B.
Second.
Commissioner Eberline?
Aye.
Chairman Torrey?
Aye. Okay, it's 10:26 a.m., and I'll make a motion to exit executive session 1B with no decisions.
Second.
Commissioner Eberline?
Aye.
Chair Matari?
Aye. 10:26, meeting adjourned.